Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Smells Like. I'm Josh. So good to see you. This is Fragrances of the Week. And for this episode, this week, I decided to go with all designer fragrances. So this is really are kind of almost like my guilty pleasures in a way, just in the way that these are very mainstream, mass marketed, mass appealing designers that have been talked and talked and talked to death. And a lot of them are kind of more the fragrances that guys get into when they're first getting into the hobby, maybe, and are kind of just wanting those nice, youthful, more universally pleasing fragrances. As much as I get into niche and high-end exclusives and higher-end perfumery and the quality of it and the artistry of it, I think there'll always be a part of me that just really enjoys some basic bitch designer shit. Like, that's what I started with, and honestly, to this day, I am still fascinated by these, even the most boring mainstream designer releases. I'm fascinated by them because you have an extremely talented perfumer most of the time behind it. You have tons and tons and tons of marketing and research dollars behind it, and so there's a reason that it's that way, and you have this talented perfumer who's taken kind of the ideas from all the executives and all the people from the brand and what they want to try to do, and then they come up with, in a lot of cases, this weird Frankenstein formula, like an aromatic fougere that has nothing to do with that classic fougere classification, but that's all they know how to call it because they've tweaked and turned, and they've got some sweetness, and the whole thing fascinates me, all the way down to the most hated fragrances like Invictus. I still am just fascinated with what went into making that fragrance. Why did they make it that way? And what are the aroma chemicals they decided to use and all that. Anyway, so I still and just enjoy wearing every now and then an easy to wear fragrance that just smells good, that the other people are gonna like, and that I'm just gonna kind of just feel good wearing. So all that said, let's jump right into Sunday, sampling Sunday. For this week's sample, had to go with the only sample I think I have that I hadn't tried much of from the designer world. This is from Versace. It's Versace's Oud Noir. So from their Versace Pour Homme line, the original Pour Homme, you have Versace Dylan Blue. Before Dylan Blue, you had this Oud Noir, which was Versace's take on kind of a westernized, mainstream oud fragrance. And I really think they did a pretty good job with this. This still has that fresh, kind of zesty thing that the men's designer fragrances are known for. But it has some depth to it, kind of like a leathery, spiced woods going on that really I think is pretty interesting, and particularly for a designer fragrance that you can get now for 40 or 50 bucks. A pretty solid offering. So I'm going to give that one some more attention over the coming days, and maybe see where I land with that, if I think I maybe need to get a bottle of that for the collection. We shall see. Moving right along to Monday. This is one of the fragrances that really you're going to hear the most about when it comes to the mass appealing designers. What's the best, most complimented men's designer fragrance? This is going to be in that conversation. This is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This was one of the first fragrances that I got into. It's based around this tonka bean. There's mandarin. I think there's some sage, slightly, maybe a little bit aquatic, a little bit powdery. It's just super fresh, bright. It has that Chanel quality. So, from a mass appealing designer fragrance, I don't think you're going to do a whole lot better for kind of a sporty, fresh tonka bean style fragrance than Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. On Tuesday, kind of another of my guilty pleasures. This is from YSL, and it's L'Homme Parfum Intense. Now, L'Homme Parfum Intense has gotten so much hate. I think I might be the only fragrance reviewer to ever mention this fragrance and then have anything positive to say. Um, Although it is a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine just because I know I shouldn't necessarily like this, but I do. It's really, really sweet. It's almost too sweet, but that the sweetness is tempered with this really herbal green note of artemisia or wormwood, it's sometimes called. There's also orange blossom, a really nice, soft orange blossom accord in this. Of course, plenty of woods. There's also like a suede accord going on here. It's super sweet. And still has a little bit of that loam, woodsy citrus and woods going on underneath. Also some violet leaf in here that I noticed. But this is a warmer take on the Loam DNA, and one that I really enjoy. I think that this one's unique for, not for a fragrance in general, but for a mass marketed, sweet, super sweet fragrance like this. I think it has a unique twist on it that makes it interesting to me. On Wednesday, I went with another one of the mass appealing fragrances that you've probably heard so much about. If you've ever watched a Jeremy Fragrance most complimented fragrance list or anything, you'll be familiar with this one from Dolce & Gabbana. This is Dolce & Gabbana The One Eau de Parfum. So I ignored this through the height of its popularity. I think I got a bottle like when I first got into this hobby like 3.5 years ago, and I didn't like it. I was stuck on the super, super fresh blue de Chanel, sporty type, oceanic, aquatic type fragrances. And this had a little bit too much of like a dark tobacco spicy thing that even at the early stages, this was a little bit too much for me, which I'm kind of embarrassed to admit. Now, I really love this stuff, especially for a work fragrance during colder weather. So fall and winter work fragrance. This one does really well. This has a citrus and spice opening that I love. It's grapefruit and coriander, and you have that orange tinged spice that coriander does, and the grapefruit really is nice. This dries down to kind of an ambery woods thing, really just warm, and I think interesting enough to stand out above some of the other fragrances. Also, I have to admit, this gets a lot of compliments. I've gotten nothing but like pretty amazing reactions to this. Just gotta throw that out there. Actually, I think the rest of these all of these are pretty big compliment. These last three are pretty big in that category as well. Let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Thursday, I went with Ultramale. Another one, another one from those most complimented type style videos. This is all about a sweet vanilla with quite a bit of other things, some aromatic things like sage, lavender, maybe lavender and not sage. I could be confusing those. Some of the aspects of the original Le Male are in this as well. There's a pear note that is really nice in this. This really is sweet and ambery to me. It's like a super sweet vanilla and amber. I actually wore this in front of a lady friend not too long ago, and she absolutely loved it. It just kind of made her want to get close and keep smelling it on me. And I flat out asked her if she thought I smelled like a teenager wearing this, because this gets touted as like a young man's clubbing playboy type of fragrance, and that's just not my style or personality at all. I was like, do you think I kind of smell like a 19-year-old kid going out to a club or something? She said no. She thought on me it just really kind of smelled kind of sexy and warm and inviting. So don't write this one off like I did. I wrote this off for the longest time because of all the reviews and what people say about it. And really, it's just a really nice, sweet and warm fragrance. Really nice for cold weather and dates, going out, that kind of thing. Friday, another one from the same category of like, you know, you're going to get compliments. It's going to be a good one for dates, going out, especially if you're going out with somebody, which happens to me a lot, who isn't into perfume that much. They're not that much into colognes, so you don't want to hit them with something that's too hard to handle. This one from Carolina Herrera. You got it. It's CH Men. This one is all about this leather accord with this sugary sweetness and a little bit of a green, zesty freshness. Again, kind of falls into a similar category as these. I think particularly like with the Ultra Male, Dolce & Gabbana, just kind of, actually it does a little bit of the same thing this does, in that there's this super sweet, sugary sweetness that's tempered back by this green, herbal, aromatic greenness. And those both kind of do that in a way. But CH Men, I've even got the original version or whatever with the red thing. I don't know if that matters. I've never smelled the new version or whatever. I would imagine it's not that much different. This is another one that I do get really good reactions to, I have to admit, and I feel confident when I wear this. It does just smell good to me. I do just really feel good when I wear that one. Whenever I do, I'm always like, hey, that's a pretty solid designer fragrance from Carolina Herrera. So on Saturday today, ending up with this one. Now, this one's different from the rest in that I'm just now getting to know this one. This is a new release, came out in 2018 from YSL. So we've got another one from YSL. This is Y Eau de Parfum. This one, I almost didn't want to put this one in the list because so many people hate this one. For those of you guys that watch my videos, because I talk about Chanel exclusives and stuff like that, I apologize. I'm sure you're cringing right now, some of you. But I can't help it. I smelled this and I liked it, and I've been wearing it actually just today, getting to know it, because I was thinking about, I wanted to do a review of it and just kind of see what all the fuss is about. And this really just smells good. Now, this is going to be one of the most mass appealing fragrances ever. I'm going to do a review on this, so I won't say too much here. It's considered an aromatic fougere. So again, it's kind of like this weird Frankenstein mass appealing, mass marketed thing based on that original fougere category, just done up in a weird way. Instead of lavender, it's sage. Instead of like coumarin, it's this vanillic synthetic tonka bean. This has a really great opening. It's all about the opening with this fragrance, bergamot, apple, and ginger. You know, honestly, the dry down falls pretty flat. It's an amber wood based fragrance. I think it's probably like 30 or 40% just synthetic aroma chemical of amber wood, whatever that is. If it's kind of a mix of Isoe Super and Ambroxan, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it kind of just dries down to just this kind of synthetic, whatever that amber wood aroma chemical is. That's really what this comes down to. And in that regard, you know, not the best thing ever. But the opening and the mid are enough to make this one interesting when wearing. Like I said, really, today was really, I think, only the second time I've ever worn this, and the first time I ever really paid attention to kind of how it is and what it does. So that ends up the week. Let me know in the comments some of your, you know, if you have guilty pleasures when it comes to some designers, or what are some of your favorite like mass marketed, talked, done to death fragrances that you still do really enjoy wearing. These are just a few of mine. Of course, I'm always going to have to have left out a few. These aren't like my favorite designers of all time or anything like that, but a few of my mass marketed, you know, most complimented and all that, that I still just really do enjoy wearing because I like the way that they smell. So love to hear from you in the comments. And if you'd like to do this again sometime, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you right here at Smells Like Fragrance channel for another video. Thanks so much for watching.